Okay, a lot of people requested that I actually do this video. It's a side-by-side comparison between the X-T3, the new medium format GFX50R digital rangefinder camera right here in the center, and of course the GFX50S. GFX50S and GFX50R are the exact same sensor and the same image processing engine. Over here we actually have what is physically about like a swollen XE3 camera. Been using it for more than a few days. I need to blow the dust off of it before making this video, right? Absolutely love it. On the top here we actually have, and this is metal. And by the way, a lot of people asked if it's made in Japan. This is made in Japan. There's a label on the inside of the back of the LCD. It is manufactured and assembled in Japan. A metal front command wheel that sits around the shutter release button, and here you can see the slightly oddball, not really, completely used to it on-off switch. Here's the exposure compensation dial, and obviously shutter speed dial. And since I do everything basically in aperture priority, and I actually have the exposure comp set to C, I never actually have to touch either one of these dials. I'm only using the rear command dial and the front command dial, which I have personalized to exposure comp. There we go. Here you can actually see single, continuous, and manual focus. Here we actually have a custom button right beside the Q button, right up on top, these two, and also two on top when we actually have drive mode. It lets you choose between single autofocus, panoramas, video, continuous, three-shot burst, etc. And we have another custom function button here, which is default set to ISO. I actually like it set there, so I left it set there. We actually have no D-pad in the back, but what we do have are 4 up, down, left, and right swipe functions, so that you can actually have additional, and it works extremely well and very fast with no lag. I've got down set to flash, right set to autofocus mode, whether it be single or multi. Menu button, display back button. Also have a front function button, the same as on the GFX and X-T3 Fujifilm, and autofocus assist lamp. There we go. Interesting too, this piece right here, you can actually see the separation line. This is the rubber eyepiece, so this part back here is hard plastic, and this is rubber. You do actually have a lot of eye relief. If a lot of you are wondering, and a few people asked me, like this versus an X Pro 2, for example, so far as the EVF and the eye relief, it is substantially more. Substantially more, and I wear glasses too. Very, very comfortable. Substantially more than the X Pro 2. The diopter wheel is not accidentally adjusted. You actually do have to pull it out and change it, just like a bezel on a watch. I thought of something new to call FX cameras. Here you can actually see, of course, the size comparison. Focus, there we go, size comparison between the X-T3 and the GFX. Let me place, and I know those have vertical grips on them, as well as the Nikon D850. Let's take a look at the size comparison between the Nikon D850. I'm going to start calling this, we actually have APS-C crop sensor on the X-T3. I'm going to start calling all full-frame cameras MFSC, which is, I'm going to call that medium format crop sensor. MFCS, excuse me, medium format crop sensor. MFCS, excuse me. Yeah, there's a little bit of a joke there. Might not have been a funny one, but anyway. See the size comparison between the D850 and the GFX50R. Yes, I know I have the vertical grip on it. Okay, maybe you could point that out to me, because I know they'll get 100 comments. Well, you're comparing all these cameras with the vertical grips in the GFX and D850 and the X-T3. And this is true. However, I shoot everything with a vertical grip, unless it's like my X100F or... I wish I actually had it. Well, I don't need an X-T20. I've got so many Fujifilm cameras. I would actually own an X-T20 if I didn't already have so many. Of course, we have dual card slot on the side, dual SD card slot. And on the bottom, on the left, we actually have the same battery in the GFX 50R as we have in the GFX. No one is ever going to complain, as a longtime owner and user of the GFX, nobody is ever going to complain about not having enough juice with the battery inside the GFX. Nobody is going to complain about that, period. On the right, we actually have the charging port and also a tethering port, which is USB-C port for tethering to your MacBook or, God forbid, a Windows machine. Here's DC-in and USB-C. And on the right side, we actually just have a microphone jack slash remote jack. It serves either one. Right now, I actually have the 63 millimeter 2.8 on there. And I can actually swivel up to the top. You can actually see that the strap lugs are angled. They're not dead set out left and right, 90 degrees relative to the body. They are forward. Thank God they didn't actually stick the old Mamiya studs on this camera like they did on the GFX50S, which I can't stand that. I never did like it even back in the early 90s. Couldn't stand those stupid lugs. Here's your two microphone ports right here. Even though we don't actually have a D-pad on the GFX-R, given the fact that we have a function button here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and 4 swipe functions for setting other custom functions, in addition to the Q button, you are not, having used this camera for several days, you are not going to miss the D-pad on the back, meaning the up cursor, the left, and the right cursor, and the bottom cursor. You think you know what the D-pad is. I don't need to show it to you on the back of the XT3. Maybe I do. People are like, what are you referring to? And so far as that would be this. This 4-button D-pad. A little dusty my XT3 is there. So you're not going to miss the D-pad on the GFX50R. There's plenty of customization capabilities. If you actually consider those 4 buttons and you consider that there's 4 here for swipe functions, they're as fast or faster than the D-pad on the GFX or the XT3, so you're not missing anything. You're going to be using the cursor a lot more than you will be on the GFX or the XT3 Fujifilm. But this has been a dream camera of mine for over 10 years, I kid you not. If anybody thinks that medium format's expensive and the GFX50R is $4,500, I suggest that you price a Mamiya Leaf Credo, which is, where's the Mamiya Leaf Credo? Oh, yes, it's $18,000 more. Okay, $22,000 current price, $18,000 more than the GFX50R. Not only is Fujifilm the best made. Have you ever had your hands on a $50,000 Phase 1? Yes, it's made even better than a $50,000 Phase 1. I suggest you price out any medium format camera. Made the best, fastest autofocus, undeniably so. So here we actually have the best medium format, including the GFX50R, the best medium format cameras from Fujifilm, but they're also the fastest autofocusing medium format. And no medium format is fast, but they're still the fastest of all medium format, and also, too, priced cheaper than anybody else. So same sensor, but a superior micro lens design, a superior image processing engine in the GFX50 line, or the GFX line, you could say, than a Mamiya Leaf Credo, which has been around for quite a few years. So, and I actually have to call out the DPR review. They actually, in their video review, kept saying, oh, well, this is an old sensor in this camera. It's been around since the Pentax 645Z and the Mamiya Leaf. And old sensor? You know, here's a fact, girlfriend. The 51 megapixel output of any GFX camera, GFX50S or GFX50R, will blow the balls off of any full-frame camera image. Now, this obviously has a bigger buffer. This obviously has faster autofocus, but it's made for that. Medium format is not made for that. Medium format is made for one thing: ultimate image output, UIO. And the output from these medium format images will blast the hell out of any full frame camera, which I'm going to now start calling medium format crop sensor. That's a joke. It's a dry humor joke. Anyway, thanks for watching, and that was a size comparison and a peek at the GFX50R rangefinder camera from Fujifilm. I'm absolutely in love with it. Actually, the first few hours of using it, I shed a tear or two. That's not a joke. That's dead serious. Been waiting for this camera for over 10 years. and thank God it's finally here. And wait for it, Fujifilm.